The law book sits open on the defense table before dawn, its pages cold under the courtroom lights. The danger is not the prosecutor, not the judge, not even the state waiting to crush the man no one wants defended. The danger is the quiet thought in the lawyer's mind: what if I no longer have enough left to care? That is the loneliest hour of a public defender. The courtroom is empty now. No jury shifting in their seats. No cameras. No angry family members whispering behind him. Just rows of polished wood, the smell of old paper and varnish, and a silence heavy enough to make doubt sound reasonable. He has defended men people hated before. He has stood beside clients whose names made strangers tighten their jaws. But this morning feels different. Burnout does not always arrive as collapse. Sometimes it arrives as a hand resting too long on a law book, a breath held too tight, a private wish that someone else could carry the burden. So what does Fudoshin mean here? It does not mean feeling nothing. It means fear, exhaustion, and doubt may enter the room, but they do not get to take the chair. The public defender does not look heroic at that hour. He looks tired. His suit jacket is hanging on the back of the chair because the courtroom is too cold in one way and too stale in another. His tie has been loosened once, tightened again, then left slightly crooked. On the table in front of him, the law book remains open, not because he needs to read the same passage again, but because closing it would feel too much like surrender. Outside the courtroom, the building is waking up in pieces. A janitor's cart squeaks somewhere beyond the double doors. A vent pushes thin air across the ceiling. The smell of old paper and wood sits in the room like something older than anyone's opinion about guilt or innocence. He knows what will happen when people come in. The prosecutor will stand with the clean confidence of the state behind him. The officers will sit straight. The judge will carry the kind of authority that does not need to raise its voice. The gallery, if anyone shows up, will not look at the public defender with admiration. They will look at him like he has chosen the wrong side of decency. That is the pressure most people misunderstand. It is not only the workload. It is not only the low pay, the impossible caseload, the phone calls he returns from his car, the files stacked in corners of his office like they are breeding overnight. Those things are heavy. But they are not the sharpest weight. The sharpest weight is standing beside someone hated and feeling the room quietly transfer that hatred onto you. He has learned not to flinch when people do it. He has learned the professional face, calm eyes, still mouth, shoulders squared enough to look steady but not aggressive. He has learned how to say, "Your Honor," when his chest is tight. He has learned how to object without sounding offended. He has learned how to listen to a witness describe something ugly while keeping his pen moving across a yellow legal pad. But discipline can wear thin when it is used every day and never repaired. That is where the doubt begins. Not in a dramatic breakdown. Not in a slammed door. It begins in a quiet courtroom before dawn, with his thumb rubbing the edge of the law book and his mind asking a question he is ashamed to hear: does this still matter if nobody respects it? He would never say that out loud. He would never tell the client. He would never tell the judge. He might not even tell another attorney, because lawyers are trained to turn exhaustion into jokes, cynicism, caffeine, and another hour at the desk. So the doubt stays private. It sits behind the ribs. It shows up in the small things. A motion he delays because he already knows the state will fight it. A phone call he lets go to voicemail because he does not have the patience to explain the system one more time. A moment, brief but real, when he reads the file and feels a bitter little sentence rise in him: "You did this to yourself." That sentence is dangerous, not because it is always false. Not because personal responsibility does not exist. It is dangerous because once he lets contempt enter his work, his duty begins to rot from the inside. A public defender does not have to love his client. He does not have to approve of him. He does not have to pretend the accusation is small when it is not. But he does have to stand between one human being and the full machinery of the state, and make that machinery prove its case. That is not sympathy. That is civilization. And civilization, in its plainest form, often looks like a tired lawyer opening a law book in an empty courtroom while everyone else gets to sleep. The shadow in him is burnout and doubt, but it wears more than one face. Sometimes it looks like numbness. Sometimes it looks like anger. Sometimes it looks like the fantasy of escape, quitting, walking away, finding work where people say thank you, where effort produces something clean, where the moral lines do not arrive covered in fingerprints. He imagines it for a second. A different job. A different morning. A desk without case files that smell like county jail. A life where his name is not attached to people the public wants punished before the trial even begins. Then he hears the courthouse settle around him, a wooden click from somewhere in the walls, and the fantasy ends. The law book is still there. The client is still coming. The state is still ready. This is the confrontation before the confrontation. Long before the first argument, before the judge enters, before the prosecutor lays out the charges, the lawyer has to face the part of himself that wants to become less human in order to survive human suffering. That is how burnout tempts disciplined people. It does not always tell them to quit. Sometimes it tells them to harden. It says, care less. Expect less. Give less. Keep the shell. Lose the center. And for a while, that can look like strength. He can still speak clearly. Still file motions. Still cross-examine. Still know the rules. Still sound composed enough that no one suspects how far away he feels from the younger version of himself who once believed the work had a clean moral flame inside it. But Fudoshin is not the performance of calm. Fudoshin is the refusal to let the pressure outside appoint a coward inside. In this courtroom, power has a shape. It sits higher on the bench. It wears a badge at the door. It speaks through statutes, files, procedures, and the calm vocabulary of punishment. The public defender understands that power. He respects it enough not to underestimate it. But he also knows that power becomes dangerous when nobody makes it slow down, explain itself, and meet the burden it claims to carry. His role is not to be liked. His role is to keep the room honest. That sounds noble when spoken from a distance. In the actual room, it feels colder. It feels like standing alone while everyone else assumes your presence is an inconvenience. It feels like swallowing your own fatigue because the client beside you may not have anyone else capable of speaking in a language the system recognizes. The lawyer looks down at the open law book. At the beginning of the morning, it looked like weight. Another obligation. Another reminder that he was tired before the day even started. Now, for a moment, it becomes something else. Not inspiration. He is too tired for that. It becomes a boundary. The book does not ask whether the client is popular. It does not ask whether the lawyer feels respected. It does not care if the gallery approves. It sits there with its thin pages and small print, stubborn in the way old things can be stubborn, reminding him that a principle only means something when it protects someone people do not want protected. His doubt does not vanish. His burnout does not politely leave the room. But his hand stops moving on the page. He notices his breathing. Shallow. Clipped. Defensive. He lets one breath go without making a production of it. He lowers his shoulders half an inch. He straightens the legal pad. He closes the file, then opens it again with more care. A lesser reaction would be to enter the day already resentful. To argue from ego. To fight the prosecutor as if the case were a personal insult. To treat the judge's questions as disrespect. To let the room's judgment turn him sharp, sarcastic, theatrical. That kind of lawyer may look strong for a few minutes. But the ego burns fuel too fast. The disciplined lawyer does something harder. He becomes precise. He chooses his words before pride chooses them for him. He keeps his voice even, not because he is weak, but because the issue is too serious to be handed over to irritation. He does not confuse volume with courage. He does not confuse cynicism with wisdom. He does not confuse loneliness with failure. Because the state does not need him emotional. His client does not need him adored. The courtroom does not need him pure. It needs him present. And presence, in the loneliest hour, is not a feeling. It is a posture. It is the next sentence prepared. It is the objection made cleanly. It is the pause before answering. It is the decision not to let professional burnout become professional betrayal. The doors are still closed. The room is still cold. The smell of old paper and wood still hangs over the tables. But the public defender has remembered one brutal, necessary thing. When the room is built to judge everyone in it, Fudoshin begins with refusing to judge yourself out of your duty. Training does not begin when the public defender feels convinced again. It begins while he is still tired, while the courtroom is still cold, while the law book sits open under his hand and the doubt has not yet apologized for being there. That is the part most people miss about discipline. They wait for a better mood before they return to their standards. They wait for confidence before they act with care. They wait for respect before they behave with dignity. But Dawn does not wait. The courthouse will open whether he feels ready or not. The judge will take the bench. The prosecutor will arrange the files. The client will be brought in, wearing the exhausted face of someone who knows the room has already decided too much about him. So the lawyer begins where he is. He presses his palm flat against the page. Not hard. Not dramatic. Just enough to feel the thin paper resist him. The law book is not warm. It does not comfort him. It gives him something better than comfort, a surface that does not move. His thoughts are moving too fast, throwing up old cases, missed dinners, late nights, clients who lied to him, clients he could not save, clients who cursed him after he did everything he could. The page does not argue back. It waits. He lets his hand stay there until his breath catches up. One breath in through the nose. One breath out without force. He does not call it meditation. He would hate that word in this room. He is not trying to become serene. He is trying to become usable. Then he names the facts silently. Empty courtroom. Defense table. Law book. Cold air. Old paper. Wood. Dawn. The mind in burnout likes to turn one hard morning into an entire life sentence. It says, you are always tired. Nothing changes. Nobody cares. The work is eating you alive. Some of that may have truth in it, but truth without proportion becomes poison. So he shrinks the battlefield. Not the whole profession. Not every case. Not the future of justice in America before sunrise. This room. This client. This hearing. This next sentence. His eyes move from the law book to the legal pad. The top page has notes from last night, written in uneven lines because he was fighting sleep. A younger version of himself would have hated that handwriting. He would have read moral failure into the slant of a tired sentence. Now he sees it for what it is, evidence that someone stayed. He uncaps his pen. The first action is small. He rewrites the issue in one clean line. No anger. No performance. No speech for an imaginary audience. Just the legal question that has to survive the morning. When doubt floods the mind, precision drains the flood. He reads the line once. Crosses out two words that are too broad. Replaces them with words the judge can use. This matters. Not because language is magic, but because loose language is where exhaustion sneaks into professional work. A tired lawyer says too much. A resentful lawyer says it too sharply. A hopeless lawyer stops trimming the sentence until it can carry weight. He trims the sentence. The second action is even quieter. He checks the file for what he does not want to look at. There is always something like that. A bad fact. A witness statement. A prior mistake. A detail that makes the client harder to defend in front of people who already want permission to hate him. Burnout would like to skip it. Doubt would like to mutter, what difference does it make? His ego would like to build an argument where the ugly fact never breathes. He does not skip it. He turns the page. There it is. For a few seconds, his jaw tightens. The old contempt tries to stand up inside him. Not loud. Just enough to darken the room. The private sentence returns, why should I carry this for him? He lets the sentence appear. Then he refuses to feed it. He puts a bracket around the fact and writes one question beside it. What must the state prove? That question is a blade, but not the kind that cuts people. It cuts through fog. It keeps him from becoming either naive or cruel. He does not have to pretend the fact is harmless. He does not have to become the state's echo. His duty is narrower, harder, cleaner, make power prove what power claims. The third action happens in his body. He sits back, plants both feet under the defense table, and adjusts his posture before anyone is there to see it. Not for appearance. For command. Burnout bends people forward into the paperwork until the whole world becomes a file. Doubt makes the chest cave in as if the verdict has already been read. He has entered too many courtrooms like that, folded over, carrying invisible weight in his shoulders. This morning, he notices it. He pulls his shoulders back just enough to breathe. The law book remains open, but now it is no longer something he hides behind. It is something he sits beside. He rehearses the first sentence aloud once, barely above a whisper. Your Honor, the defense asks the court to look closely at the burden here. He stops. Too soft. He says it again. Not louder. Clearer. The difference matters. Loudness asks the room to notice you. Clarity serves the point. Fudoshin in a courtroom is not a stone face and a cold heart. It is the ability to let the voice come from duty instead of injury. The fourth action is restraint. He imagines the prosecutor's argument. He knows the tone that will come. Firm. Certain. Maybe righteous. Maybe careful enough to sound neutral while pushing the weight of the state across the room. The lawyer can already feel his own pride preparing a counterattack. A sharp remark. A phrase with teeth in it. Something that would make him feel alive for 3 seconds. He writes it in the margin. Then he crosses it out. Not every true sentence deserves to be spoken. Not every clever sentence serves the client. Not every strike is strength. Some are just fatigue looking for a target. He replaces the crossed out line with a pause mark. Just a small slash near the first argument. A reminder to stop before answering. A reminder that silence, used well, can keep the ego from contaminating the work. The fifth action is the hardest because it has no audience and no immediate reward. He opens his phone and looks at the message he avoided last night. It is from the client's mother. Not demanding. Not even angry. Just asking if there is any hope. He does not promise what he cannot promise. He does not write a speech. He types one honest sentence: "I'm preparing now, and I will make the strongest argument the law allows." He reads it twice before sending. The sentence is plain. It will not fix her fear. It will not clean the case. It will not make him less tired. But it repairs one small tear between his duty and his behavior. Burnout grows in those tears. It grows when the outside still looks professional while the inside starts quietly abandoning people. He sends the message. Then he places the phone face down. The room is still empty, but it does not feel as vacant now. There is a rhythm in it. Pen. Page. Breath. Pause. Law book. The old wood holding the cold. The dawn moving slowly against the high windows. This is Shugyo in a place nobody romanticizes. No mountain trail. No monastery. No clean heroic test. Just a public defender in a county courtroom teaching his exhausted mind how to return to the work without lying to itself. He does not tell himself he loves the job. He does not tell himself the system is fair. He does not tell himself he is above resentment. He only refuses to let resentment draft the argument. That is enough for this hour. The law book was weight at first. Then it became a boundary. Now it becomes a ritual object, ordinary and severe. Each time his mind runs toward despair, his hand comes back to the page. Each time the client becomes a symbol instead of a person, he returns to the burden of proof. Each time the room tries to make him feel foolish for standing there, he straightens the sentence instead of defending his ego. The doors will open soon. Footsteps will enter. Power will take its usual places. And when it does, he will not be empty of fear. He will not be empty of doubt. He will simply have trained the first movement, hand to page, breath to body, mind to duty, voice to the law. The first sound is not the judge. It is the latch on the courtroom door. A deputy steps in with the practiced quiet of someone who has opened the same door 1,000 times. Then another sound follows. Shoes on the aisle. A brief cough from the back row. Paper folders sliding against each other. The building has stopped being a shell and started becoming a system. The public defender does not look up right away. His hand is still on the law book. Not gripping it now. Not leaning on it like a man trying to stay upright. Just resting there for one last second before the room fills with expectations he cannot control. The dawn light has changed. It is no longer the bluish gray that belonged only to him. It has gone pale against the high windows, thinning across the empty benches, touching the varnished wood until every surface looks awake and slightly unforgiving. His client is brought in a few minutes later. There is no dramatic entrance. No music. No clean line between good and evil. Just a man in wrinkled clothes, eyes lowered, shoulders tight, carrying the weight of being unwanted before anyone has spoken his name. The public defender watches him come forward and notices the old reaction trying to rise again. Fatigue. Judgment. That small, bitter instinct to protect himself by becoming distant. It is still there. That matters. Because transformation is not the disappearance of the shadow. It is the moment the shadow reaches for the steering wheel and finds that your hand is already there. The lawyer stands. Not grandly. Not with some heroic swell in his chest. He stands because the client has reached the table, and the first act of defense is not an argument. It is recognition. "Morning," he says. The client barely nods. For a second, the lawyer almost adds something extra, something to soften the room, something to prove he is not as tired as he feels. He stops himself. The client does not need performance. He needs a lawyer whose words have not been diluted by the need to be liked. So the public defender pulls out the chair. That is all. A small motion. A plain courtesy. But in that courtroom, for that client, it becomes a line drawn in silence. The state may accuse him. The public may despise him. The facts may be ugly. But at this table, before this proceeding begins, he will not be treated like waste. The prosecutor enters with a clean file and a cleaner expression. Polite. Controlled. Certain. The kind of certainty that can make doubt feel like weakness if you let it. The lawyer feels his own pulse answer. A familiar tightening moves through his chest, the body preparing to defend more than the case. His ego wants to meet certainty with force. His burnout wants to meet certainty with cynicism. His duty asks for something harder. Precision. He looks down once at the law book. Earlier, its pages had felt like another demand placed on an already emptied man. Then it had become a boundary. Then a ritual. Now, with the room filling around him, it becomes a witness. Not a witness for the client. A witness against his own worst impulse. The judge enters. Everyone rises. The old wood complains under shifting feet. The smell of paper and varnish seems stronger now, warmed by bodies and morning air. The public defender stands straight enough to feel the floor through both shoes. He is still tired. He still remembers the messages unanswered in his office. The case is waiting. The dinner's missed. The private fear that one day he will wake up and find nothing left inside him but procedure. None of that leaves. But it no longer gets the first word. When the judge calls the case, the prosecutor begins. The state's argument is orderly, heavy, practiced. It has the confidence of an institution speaking through one human mouth. The public defender listens with his pen still. He does not scribble to look busy. He does not shake his head for effect. He does not perform outrage for the gallery. He marks one line. Then another. At one point, the prosecutor says something broader than the record allows. The public defender feels the old sharp sentence rise in him, the one he crossed out before anyone arrived. It would land. It would make the point. It might even feel good. He lets it pass through his mind without giving it a voice. When his turn comes, he places one finger briefly on the edge of the law book, not for show, not because anyone notices, but because his body remembers the ritual now. Hand to page. Breath to body. Mind to duty. Voice to the law. Your Honor, he says, the defense asks the court to look closely at the burden here. The sentence comes out clear. Not loud. Clear. There is a difference, and everyone in the room can feel it even if they cannot name it. Loudness would have made him the center. Clarity makes the issue the center. Loudness would have burned off his anger. Clarity protects the client from becoming just another object moved through the system. He walks the judge through the point. One fact. One limit. One question the state has not answered. He does not pretend the case is clean. He does not decorate the client. He does not insult the prosecutor. He does not ask the court to feel what it is not there to feel. He makes power slow down. That is the work. The room does not suddenly become kind. No one in the gallery changes their mind with tears in their eyes. The judge does not smile with secret admiration. The prosecutor does not lose confidence. The client does not become innocent in the air because his lawyer spoke well. The world remains stubborn. But something has shifted inside the public defender. He is no longer arguing to prove he still believes. He is arguing because belief, at its most adult, is sometimes nothing more glamorous than doing the required thing with your full weight behind it. Burnout had tried to shrink his duty into a burden. Doubt had tried to make his loneliness look like evidence that the work was meaningless. But here, in the pressure of the actual room, he sees it differently. Loneliness is not proof that you are wrong. Sometimes it is simply the cost of standing at the place where principle is most unpopular. The judge asks a question. The lawyer pauses before answering. That pause is the transformation. Not the argument. Not the posture. Not the calm expression others might mistake for confidence. The pause. The half second where reaction does not own him. The breath where he does not reach for sarcasm, despair, or self-protection. The narrow space where a tired man chooses to remain trustworthy. He answers carefully. The law book stays open beside him. By now, it no longer feels cold. It has absorbed the heat of his hand, the pressure of the morning, the discipline of returning again and again to what the room would rather rush past. It is still only a book. Thin pages. Small print. Worn corners. But its meaning has changed because his relationship to it has changed. At dawn, it asked whether he had enough left. Now it reminds him what enough looks like. Enough is not purity. Enough is not certainty. Enough is not being loved by the room. Enough is standing beside the unpopular client without letting contempt become your shortcut. Enough is hearing the state speak and making it meet the law instead of your anger. Enough is feeling doubt burn under the ribs and still choosing the next disciplined sentence. The hearing continues. The outcome is not guaranteed. That is important. Samurai discipline does not promise that calm command will make the judge agree with you. The state soften, the public understand, or the work stop taking pieces out of your life. It promises something quieter and more severe, that under pressure, you can refuse to let the worst part of the pressure become the worst part of you. The lawyer sits down after his argument. His client looks at him once, quickly, as if gratitude would be too dangerous to show in public. The lawyer gives a small nod. Nothing sentimental. Nothing polished for a movie trailer. Just one human being acknowledging another across the narrow space the system leaves them. Outside, morning has fully arrived. Inside, the courtroom is still cold. But the public defender is no longer waiting to feel unbroken before he acts with honor. He has learned the loneliest hour can still be commanded. Most people will never stand at a defense table before dawn with the state across from them and an unpopular client beside them. But most people know that private hour. The hour before the meeting where no one wants to hear your side. The drive to work when your hands stay on the wheel but your mind is already tired of being needed. The kitchen table at night, with paperwork spread out and one hard obligation waiting for you like it knows your name. That is where your courtroom appears. Not always with a judge. Not always with law books. Sometimes the bench is just a supervisor's silence, a family disappointment, a debt you have avoided opening, or a responsibility that no one will clap for. And in that hour, the question is not whether doubt will come. It will. The question is whether doubt gets to speak for you. The public defender's lesson is severe because it is ordinary. He does not become fearless. He does not become immune to burnout. He only learns to put his hand back on the law book, breathe once, and let duty choose the next sentence before resentment does. That may be your practice today. One breath before the reply. One pause before the judgment. One small return to the task you still owe. If this reflection gave language to a quiet battle in your own life, stay with samurai discipline. There are more rooms like this, and more ways to stand inside them without giving yourself away. A disciplined person is not someone who never feels fear. It is someone who refuses to let fear take command.